Hey guys, thanks for watching my EPSolar video. What you'll see is an install slash review slash look at the EPSolar Tracer 2215RN solar charge controller. And I've been using it, must be over 2 years now, I think, 2 years maybe. And I've had zero troubles with it. I love it. I've moved it from a couple different campers. I think I moved from my chicken shed to one camper and then to another camper, and it works brilliantly. It's never hiccuped or burped. I would definitely recommend it. It's a great little product. It seems like it is an MPPT controller. I certainly get a good amount of amperage out of it as long as my panels are in the sun. I get kind of the full amperage I would expect. So getting kind of closer to 100% of the output of the solar panels versus whatever the PWM would end up putting into the batteries. That's not bad, and I think I'm totally happy with that. Now, not the meter's pretty good. My dislikes about it, just as an update to this, again, is it doesn't show the watts. It shows the amperage and the voltage, which you can calculate watts from, but it doesn't just straight up show the watts. That's my only complaint. So anyways, have a look at the video, and I'll try and get some. I'll have some other content in there for you, as well as for a bit of an update on this one. This is my review of the Tracer 2215RN charge controller. I've got 4 panels hooked up. There's 5 panels up there, but 4 are hooked up, 2 each in a series. So the 2 on the left up there are one big panel, and the 2 on the right are one big panel, and then hooked parallel together for about 31 volts of power for use with the MPPT technology. So I'll go look at the inside. So I'm doing a review of the Tracer 2215 RN because I didn't see a lot of actual reviews on YouTube. I think there was maybe 1 or 2 that had some information on them. And when I was looking for it, obviously I was looking for everything I could find. I couldn't find anything. So this is my review. So we'll start with the basic setup. I got an old deep cell here. It's kind of wrecked. It doesn't charge properly. But it works. I assume it's about a 90 amp hour battery. It's just a 12 volt setup that I have. I have my little watt meter that I got off eBay. So you can see what it's doing here. So right now my 12 watts of power, my 4 solar panels, which are 3 watts each, is pulling in about 15 watts. It's a sunny sky, clear, sun's directly on the panels, so it's overproducing, and that's great. So you see the 28, 29 volts there, top right corner, and the amperage about half an amp. I mean, I'm running a pretty tiny array. This just lights a little shed, so it's pretty basic. So we move up to the charge controller here. So the main unit, which you can buy separate, so this is a 20 amp. I came from a 10 amp PWM controller. So this is a step up for sure. It is a Chinese make and company. It appears to do what I'm expecting it to do, though. And you see the red light for PV to show that the panel's charged. The battery LED actually changes color based on the battery diagram there. So if it's lower, it'll actually turn orange, and if it's really low, over low, it'll be a red light for that battery LED, which is really nice. And then there's a temperature sensor too, so it finds the ambient temperature so it can charge the batteries correctly. I'll quickly cut in and say that I've had this set up in my chicken shed through a couple of winters. It's been down to minus 25, close to minus 30, and it's had no trouble at all. The charge controller has worked flawlessly, like I said. So even in really, really cold temperatures, as long as you keep it out of the direct rain and sunshine, this is definitely a controller that will last a number of years at least, and that's how long it's lasted for me, and I've had zero issues with it. So it's a great controller. With this, you can also get the Meter 5, the MT5 which works with the various tracer charge controllers, the 10 amp, the 20 amp, the 30 amp, the 40 amp. I got this as all one package. Some people say it's not helpful. I like the big GUI. I like to be able to see what it's doing real time, all the time. There is a wee little display here, but it's tiny, so you can do your configuration of your battery type and your timers and stuff. But it's much easier to have a nice big display. So this is a remote display. So you can cycle through the various pieces. So the solar panel, it's showing 27 volts coming in, and anything greater than 12 to 14, it's going to start trying to do its MPPT thing, where it takes the extra voltage and turns it into amperage. So it's showing about 27, and that's exactly what my watt meter is showing. So that agrees there. So that's pretty good. There's a ton of options in here and stuff it's displaying. I'll show you the basics. So it's showing the 12.4 volts in the battery. This battery again is kind of toast, so it's not. It's showing about 40% charged here, and it shows that it's charging at 500 milliamps. Now, it's not doing much in terms of MPPT right now. On the watt meter, it's showing 5600 milliamps, or 560 milliamps, 570 milliamps. So it's not doing a ton right now, but I mean I have a pretty tiny array on it, and it's kind of useless for testing this properly. And then it's got the load, and it shows you how much voltage is being drawn and how much amperage is being drawn with the load on. So I just have a couple of LED lights on it, which end up taking about 20 watts in total. I'm driving AC, I'm not doing DC right now, so I've got a little 75 watt inverter there to drive some AC LEDs. I'm going to get some DC LEDs so I can do an all DC power source. That's to come. So the backlit display is nice. Obviously works great at night. It's got LEDs on the meter as well. The nice green charge light, and the E for air, the error light. Red if you got a reversal of contacts or something like that. You see here under the battery, it's showing 90 amp hour. You can set that. You can see 30 degrees Celsius, which seems a little high, but maybe close. It's 25 degrees out anyways. And then here you can see the percent, the state of charge. 40% it's showing, 39. And then you see the FLD there for flooded, because my battery is a flooded lead acid. And you can set the AGM and all the other types there. And then you can set your timers for your load, which is nice. And then it shows some accumulated watt hours, things like that. And then we're back to the solar panel, which is now up to 32 volts. So I'll go back over to this one. So that's it. I mean, you can set it up all with the meter. You can do it all on the unit itself. But again, I like to have a display, mostly because it's a hobby and I enjoy seeing what it's doing. It's nice to see what's happening. And the cord's 2 meters, so you can put it a fair distance away, and you can control the load if it's on manual setting with that last button there. The manual's okay. The English is pretty good in it, although you can tell that it was translated from Chinese. All in all, this unit seems to be pretty good. I love the big display. More companies should do that. It kind of dumbs it down, especially for the newbies like myself, and gives you a good heads up. It also saves having to plug in voltmeters all the time, which is a pain. And that's actually one of the reasons I got my watt meter, so that I could just plug it in. Now this is the one drawback of the Tracer series. It doesn't reflect stuff coming from the solar panel. If I go over to the solar panel, all it shows is voltage. It doesn't show amperage. It doesn't give you a watt reading for what it's pulling off right now. You have to get that by other means, and so in line I have my watt meter, and that's why I have that. And the other purpose is this is just a good secondary indicator to confirm my results and confirm that the tracer is doing what it's doing, and look for something where maybe not operating ideally. I really should probably be getting a few more volts here, since I have two 18-volt max voltage panels in series. I really should have about 36 volts, in direct sunlight, and I am in direct sunlight. So they're not operating at their peak. They probably should be a little bit higher than 30 or even 31, they're old 12-volt Volkswagen car charger panels that you'd put in your front windshield. So they are what they are. This is the first time I've tried putting solar panels in series to test out what it's doing and to see how the MPPT is going to work. But it works pretty well. So you see actually there 600 milliamps. So it was at 600 for a second there. So it was using 600 milliamps because the voltage was nice and high. There it is right there. If I go down here, you see it's at 560 milliamps. So it does, when the voltage gets above 30, it is producing more amperage into the battery than the panels are producing themselves, just because of the higher voltage conversion. So yeah, 12 watts of panels producing 16, 17 watts of power. That's excellent. Doing good. And that's my review. It works well. I paid about, I think it was $140 or something for the base. I think shipping was free. Off eBay, it's your standard Chinese company stuff. It just seems to work. It's great for what I'm doing. You may not choose this for a 6 kilowatt system in your house or something. Obviously, you probably want to spend a few more bucks on a commercial production grade and a lot more amperage unit. But for the DIY guy setting up his own solar system, this is a great help to get an understanding of what's happening. So that's it. That is my solar setup. I will quickly add to the video that you can get, there's a newer model EPSolar unit out there. They still carry this tracer line, the 2215RN, but they have some nicer lines that are brand new that do logging and stuff on board, and some really cool stuff. It's a bit more expensive. You're talking $300, $400, $500 for it versus $100 or $200 for the tracer that I got. I would certainly recommend the tracer that I got, but there are some nice versions out there with some nice new features, so be sure to check them out.